The premiere of Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Fowl has happened, so beware of spoilers. But because the film has now been shown to a select audience at the Chinese theatre in America, reviews are starting to come out. Now there's pros and cons of that. Cons first are that spoilers are trickling out, so the reviews will go on to just describe the film, so I won't be reading them in full. But the pros are that the film gets amazing reviews, and they're just all like 4 and 5 stars. Wallace and Gromit are better than ever after 35 years. Vengeance Most Fowl is the direct sequel to The Wrong Trousers We Never Expected. It proves to be an absolute must-watch this Christmas. The duo's comeback hits all the franchise's gleeful highs. Vengeance Most Fowl is a warm, cozy, hilarious return to screen for any worries of a cheap rehash banking on nostalgia can be ground into dust. This is perfect. Can it be that it's really going to be a really brilliant film? I'm not used to this happening anymore. So we have some posts from director Merlin Crossingham alongside Nick Park on the red carpet at the event. You can see they brought the real Wallace and Gromit models with them. Merlin has Wallace, Nick has Gromit, and they've both got these black bow ties on for the occasion. Now, like I say, be very careful with these reviews. I wouldn't recommend reading them extensively because as you go down they do just start to describe the plot and exactly what happens. So yeah, Radio Times 5 stars, and basically lots of praise for Feathers McGraw. They keep mentioning how Feathers is such an effective villain and that it kind of works as a direct sequel to The Wrong Trousers. The next article is Metro, and it says Wallace and Gromit are better than ever after 35 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Honestly, as much as I've covered the film, I wasn't 100% sure if they could bring the original magic back of the Wallace and Gromit films, and that's what it repeatedly says here that they've succeeded in doing. It mentions here, which is interesting, Hollywood might be in an era of endless remakes, reboots and sequels, but what Park and co-director Merlin Crossingham understand so well here is that this is a formula you don't mess with. That is amazing to hear. Its detailed, handmade and utterly British ways are the hallmark of the franchise, and no fan wants to see any different. They just want to see better and more. Luckily, Vengeance Most Fowl is ready to deliver. This is really exciting stuff, and I have nothing but good things to say about this film, which it's classic Aardman. Even recent Aardman films like the Chicken Run sequel, people were very critical of them. But this, Wallace and Gromit, which has always been, the crown jewel of Aardman, it's keeping its reputation by the looks of it, which is amazing to see. Digital Spy here says BBC's new Wallace and Gromit movie is another cracking pun-filled delight. Vengeance Most Fowl is a must-see this Christmas. Legacy sequels are all the rage these days, and now everybody's favourite duo, Wallace and Gromit, are getting in on the action this Christmas. The film sees the eagerly awaited return of villainous chicken, crossed out penguin, Feathers McGraw. What's most pleasing about this is that it isn't just for some thin, crowd-pleasing cameo. Feathers is properly back in business, turning the movie into a Wallace and Gromit first, an actual sequel. Very, very cool information here. Vengeance Most Fowl is the direct sequel to The Wrong Trousers We Never Expected, and it proves to be an absolute must-watch this Christmas on the BBC. It also gets 5 stars by Digital Spy. So that's interesting. The direct sequel, so it must be massively tied into The Wrong Trousers, which is amazing because it's like just an incredible film. But I'm not used to seeing this level of praise for a film recently. Next article is from The Telegraph. The duo's comeback hits all the franchise's gleeful highs. And 4 out of 5 stars. IGN has a review. For some reason it's listed as Wallace and Gromit 2, which is hilarious. I assume from their perspective it's the second feature film. I love what they say here though. Vengeance Most Fowl is a warm, cozy, hilarious return to screen for Wallace and Gromit. The warm and cozy thing. I very much want to do a video on that, the kind of atmosphere of Wallace and Gromit and how it's very familiar, warm and cozy, and it's something I've tried to capture on the channel a bit in the theming and everything. So to hear that is fantastic. Vengeance Most Fowl picks up on the stop motion franchise's goofy, breezy, gag-packed energy as if the last 16 years didn't happen. That is exactly what I want to hear, man. Any worries of a cheap rehash banking on nostalgia can be ground into dust. This is perfect. I'm not used to this happening anymore. But yeah, it just goes to show from these reviews, the fact that they've done it all, you know, the handcrafted original style, and it's got this heart and humour and just soul put into it. People kind of connect with it apparently, as opposed to big soulless corporations making lots of remakes and stuff. Vengeance Most Fowl strikes the perfect balance of telling a new story about mild-mannered inventor Wallace and crafty canine Gromit, while also playing the hits. We see the return of the most dastardly villain ever put to screen, as Feathers McGraw rears his very small, ugly, red rubber glove capped head to expand on the evil schemes of 1993's The Wrong Trousers. It makes for a story that feels imaginative and exciting, yet as cozy and warm as all Wallace and Gromit projects should. It says Ryan wrote this review from IGN. That's worded incredibly. And now I've got The Independent. Vengeance Most Fowl is rib-tickling proof that newer isn't always better. It gets 4 stars again. All hail the return of Feathers McGraw, a villain of silent malevolence equal to Hannibal Lecter. Wow. So every one of these reviews you'll notice has high praise for Feathers McGraw, a non-speaking, very small character, which is really interesting. It seemed to have succeeded in recreating the mannerisms of the character from The Wrong Trousers that made him such an effective villain, you know? The triumphant return of 2 northern icons, the cheddar-fixated genius inventor Wallace, Ben Whitehead, who took over from Peter Sallis after his death in 2017, which, by the way, the fact that so little reviews have mentioned that Wallace has been recast, that speaks volumes as to how good of an impression it is. It reminds us of, you know, we had the whole The Muppets, the Kermit thing. All of these articles were talking about how Kermit's voice sounded wrong. So this is the complete opposite, because nobody mentions it, and anyone that does has nothing but praise for the performance. The pair face the most topical of foes, an AI gnome. Now it's interesting, AI is suddenly mentioned every day on the radio and on the TV and just kind of shoved down our throats. But all it is artificial intelligence, so many of Wallace's inventions could be categorized as AI, even though it's just became, you know, a trendy thing to call them that. But it will be interesting to see it reflect these, you know, real life problems that we have now. The lesson here is that while technology has its place and advantages, there are some things a machine just can't do. That may as well be the motto of Aardman Animations, who have stuck by stop motion in an industry obsessed with the latest gadgets and gizmos. That is perfect. So to kind of summarize all that, the premiere happened, Nick and Merlin were there with Wallace and Gromit in the kind of little bow ties on the red carpet. There was a Q&A afterwards with Nick and Merlin as well. So as it stands, most of us will be waiting until Christmas Day when Vengeance Most Fowl premieres on BBC and then on Netflix on the 3rd of January for the rest of the world. But yeah, I've been really taken aback by these reviews and just how positive they are. As someone who's just been making little videos talking about Wallace and Gromit for a few years, it's weird to see everyone talking about them all of a sudden, and that's great. They're back in the spotlight and receiving nothing but praise. So there you go. From now on to December, it's just the countdown to the film releasing. But yeah, this feels like a momentous occasion to have it finally screened and be a massive success. I mean, we couldn't really ask for much more. So thank you all for watching. Leave your comments down below as to what you think of all this, and yeah, I'll see you next time.